Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Spencer. On today's episode, we're doing Ghosts of Christmas Present, my most played games of 2022. Alright, 2022. Looking back, what a good year for board gaming. I started the channel, grew some followers, over 100 now. I thank each and every one of you for the support. We're just getting started. We're going to keep growing it. As always, comment down below what your favorite game was of 2022. And let's get into my list. Honorable mentions first. Kabuto Sumo. Dexterity game. You play these bug wrestlers, and each bug wrestler has its unique piece, and it's a dexterity game, which was new for me. But basically, you're sliding your piece onto the wrestling ring, knocking off other pieces. As you knock pieces off, you get to gather them up and use them to, again, knock more pieces off. Kind of like that quarter machine, where you knock a quarter down, you get more quarters, so you keep putting it in until you get the big prize. And you keep doing that till you knock off the other wrestler. Very fun game. Played it a lot. Second, Hues and Clues, which was a great family game. We brought it out, and you take this little square, you have a card, you basically describe the color without using obvious ones like peach or orange or red, and everyone guesses what color you're thinking of, and you put it down. It's just kind of a fun interactive party game. We really enjoyed it. And my other honorable mention was Loot and Loaded, which really that took me by surprise. It's a set collecting game with a twist. It's set in the Wild West, and it basically has you have however many players, you have different cards set out, and you predetermine where you're going to go. Everybody reveals where they're going to go. If there's two people at the same time, you play rock, paper, scissors. If there's a tie, lock the gun, and you shoot each other. And whoever wins the duel wins the card. It was one of this game, and it comes with freaking little Nerf guns. It was really quite a charming game. Wild West shooter for set collecting. I enjoyed it. It might be in my top 10 games. Remember, this isn't a top 10 favorite games. This is just top 10 most played games. I don't really want to do a top 10 favorite games this year. Maybe next year when I play a lot more games, I'll maybe start doing a top 50 list. But I think for the first year I'm on YouTube and doing this, I'm going to stay away from that for right now. Okay, number 10. Most played game 2022. Number 10 is Tiny Towns. It's Peter McPherson, AEG Games. This was such a delight. I loved it. What makes this game so good is, well, let's describe the game first. Let's do that. Basically, what you're doing is calling out resources. Take turns, go around the table, call out resources. You call out the resource, you put it on your little 4x4 grid. Once you make a pattern with the right amount of resources, you swipe them off, you put the building down. But now, there's one less space for you to put the resources down. You run out of room pretty quick. One of those real easy to learn, but hard to master games, which I think is great. The more you can involve people, you go, hey, here it is. These are the rules. Very straightforward. Get it quickly to the table. And then you kind of realize, uh-oh, I'm running out of room. Oh, I didn't plan properly. Oh, I don't have enough room for this. As you get more buildings, space becomes limited. And of course, there's also like combo multiplier cards, that kind of thing. But Tiny Towns I thought was a really fun game. There's a solo mode as well, which I enjoy. And you kind of try to beat your own score or beat the, whatever. There's like a list of how good you did scores. But don't sleep on Tiny Towns. There's a lot of expansions too. It looks like one of those cheesy games. It's a good brain burner. I really enjoyed Tiny Towns. Number 9. If I did a top 10, number 9 might be in my top 5. It's On Mars. It's a Vital Lacerda game by Eagle Gryphon Games. It's the rules and the way the game flows is so tight. It's so smooth. I loved every second of this game. Only reason it's not higher on my top 10 most played is because it is quite a big game to get to the table. It's components. It's a longer game to play. It's harder to get to the table. But when you do get it to the table, it's so good. There's actions both in space and on Mars that you can take. When you're on Mars, you can build colonies, you can rove around and collect resources. You can hire or recruit more people to do things for you. Then you can go to space. How do you go to space? Well, you take the ship. It goes back and forth until you start completing objectives, and then it's 2 turns until it goes back down, 2 turns till it goes back up. So then you have to really start planning your turns out. In space, you can research more blueprints, you can hire scientists, you can go to the warehouse and get resources. It's really, really good game. I wish I could get it more to the table. It's just one of those bigger games that you really have to set aside like a good afternoon chunk for that. And with 2 kids, it's hard for me to get that to the table. But I loved it. It's my first Vital Lacerda game. I wasn't aware of him before this game. Now I'm aware of him. Weather Machine, some of the other games that he's put out are on my radar, and I'm looking into it and getting more of those games. Number 9, On Mars. Number 8, another party game, Medium. This is a game by Danielle DeLay, Lindsay Sherwood, Nathan Thornton, by Greater Than Games. This is a real good party game for people who know each other well or don't know each other well. It doesn't matter. One of those say the same word at the same time games, which you might have seen on social media, people doing it anyway. But basically you get 3 guesses. You have a hand of cards, you put a word down, they put a word down, you think of a word that connects the 2 words. If you don't get it, the 2 words you just said have to connect those words, and so on. You get 3 guesses, and then you don't get any points. The points don't really matter. It's kind of if you want to do the points, you see who did the best. But it's really I'm very bad at this game, by the way. I must think on a different wavelength from other people. I'm very bad at this game. I can never get the word. But when you do get it, you feel so connected and you feel so good. There's always those ones where you go, hey, remember that time when you said this word and I said this word and we just nailed it on the first try? It was just those moments. I love those moments. Medium's a great party game. It's a great way to interact with people. If you know them, if you don't know them, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of a fun. We played it. We played it. It's a smaller box. You take it anywhere. Number 8, most played game, Medium. Number 7, game by Thornstein Gimler and Amigo Games called No Thanks. This was another kind of easy game. We broke out a lot, especially when you have family in town. You want to get something to the table, but they don't really know games. But you want to play something because you're just itching, and they're just like, I don't really like games. Get this game to the table. It's very simple. It's 2 rules. It's got a little bit of gotcha, but it's not in a mean way. It's basically you're trying to have the lowest score possible. And you do that by A, picking the low cards and staying away from the high number cards. And B, if you can get a run together, 1, 2, 3, 4, only the number 1 will count. 15, 16, 17, only the 15 will count. So you try to get runs. You try to have the lowest score possible. Well, who draws cards? Well, if you don't want to draw the card, let's say the big number 33 comes up, you take one of your chips, slide it on there, no thanks. On to the next person, no thanks, no thanks, no thanks. Eventually, you run out of chips, you have to take it. But when you take it, you get all those chips that people were putting on the card, so now you can say no thanks forever. So you kind of puzzle it out a little bit. It's like a little push your luck. When's a good time to take the card and get all those chips? Or you see nobody's going to take it, you're going to be the one to take it, so you just let them keep putting chips on it, and then you take the whole thing and you got a pot of chips. You could say no thanks forever. Sometimes that's a good strategy. Take the big card nobody wants at the beginning. That's your only card because you say no thanks the whole time. Very easy game to learn. Great for families. It's 2 rules. You either take the card or you say no thanks. Once the chips are out, you have to take it. That's it. Number 7, no thanks. broke it out anytime family came over. Really enjoyed it. My number 6 game, most played game 2022, Pandemic Legacy Season 1. This is Matt Leacock, Z-Man Games. It was my first Legacy game. Didn't know what a Legacy game was. Played it and they said rip the card. I go, rip the card? You mean destroy some of my board game components? I can't do that. You can. You rip it, you put stickers on it. I had so much fun playing this. Me and the wife started it when the pandemic started. We only played a couple games. We got married in February, went on the honeymoon. We sat down, we played the whole rest of it, the whole honeymoon. It was so fun. It's pandemic, you're trying to stop the virus spreading, but as you go further into the scenario, more things happen. I don't want to spoil it. I know it's been out a while, but things happen to, dissuade you, and it's so fun. Like, it turned me on to Legacy games, and now, I'm aware of these games that I didn't even realize that a game could be a campaign, and that you could progress and make permanent choices and go through different scenarios, branching. We played the crap out of it. We did the whole thing. I have the board somewhere I saved the board. It's like a little memento of what we did, what we accomplished together. It was kind of fun, and the rest of it I threw away. Kept all the components though, and that's a little pro tip. If you have little kids or younger kids, don't give them small components, but let them play with some of your older board game components and make them feel like they're participating. Saves you from having to get them under your Chip Theory games. Number 6, Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Number 5, most played game of 2022 was Scythe. This game blew me away. Jamie Stegmaier, Stonemaier Games. Everybody said it was good, and I said, yeah, okay. Everybody told me it was good, yeah, okay. I played it, it is that good. It's Threat of War. It's not a war game. It looks like a war game. It's not a war game. It's an engine building, you're spreading your domain over the map. You can battle, but you're also trying to complete objectives. Once you complete 6 objectives, game ends, that's it. And whoever has the most points wins. The system in it of having a top action and then doing the bottom action is so great. It's so clever. You upgrade these actions throughout the game. You get mechs on the map. You spread your workers out. You collect resources. I had so much fun playing this game. I love Scythe. Stonemaier Games. It was I wonder if I got that or Wingspan first. Anyway, Stonemaier Games puts out such good stuff. But the fact that you can play an entire game, which we did, play an entire game and no battles whatsoever, and you're gaining like renown, and you're gaining, there's these objective cards that you can do, and there's different missions, and if you get all your mechs out, that's an objective. It's just puzzling all of that together while somebody else is also trying to do the same thing, and there's not really a lot of downtime, which I also enjoy. I think that's what makes the game so nice, is while they're taking their turn, I'm going to do this section, you're sitting there thinking, okay, now what do I want to do next? Do I want to upgrade this? Do I want to put the mech down? Do I want to move these guys over here to get more wood or more grain? It is great. Number 5, I played that one. I haven't played the solo mode. There is a solo mode. I might try it sometime. It's better with other people, I think, though. But we'll try the solo mode sometime. But it is one of the better games that I played this last year. My number 5 most played game, Scythe. Scythe? I don't know. Number 4, my favorite 2-player game of 2022. This is by Daniel Pajcik. I should look up that name. And Roxley Games. It is number 4 is Radlands. This game has everything. It's got the art. It's got limited resources. It's post-apocalyptic, which is a great theme. And every single card is unique. The bases are unique. The cards you play are unique. Every game is different. Every game's about 15 to 20 minutes. It's one of those games you sit down and play, and and you get done playing, and you go, let's play one more. You play that. Let's play one more. You only get 3 resources, which is water. You use those resources to play cards. You can do the old water silo draw a card maneuver, which is very popular. And if you have a handful of junk and you're like, I don't like any of these cards, they even give you an option up in the upper left corner there to junk it out for an action. You can just say, I'm getting rid of this, and I'm using that action in the junk. It's so good. There's the event timer, which you place a card 3, 2, 1, and then it goes off and it does whatever the event is. This game, I could not get enough of it. It's the 2-player, my favorite 2-player game. It's head-to-head. It's just, you're lane battling, you're trying to destroy each other's bases, you have limited resources, it's wasteland, it's water. I'll recommend it to anybody. Anybody looking for a 2-player game? It's quick. It's another, rules are kind of easy. I would say 2.5 out of 5 rules. Medium-ish rules, but I mean, the possibilities are endless. Every single card is unique. There's not a duplicate in there. And it's just, you could have a strategy in mind but then when you get your bases, you look at it and you go, oh, I gotta go somewhere else. I gotta do something different. Loved Radlands. Loved it. Number 4 most played game. Alright, top 3 games. Shouldn't really be a surprise if you follow the channel. But number 3, Isaac Childress, Cephalofair Games, Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. Campaign dungeon crawler. Introduced me to the world of Gloomhaven. If anybody's looking to get into Gloomhaven, go pick this up. It's like $35 at Target. Go play the 25 scenarios. The first 5 introduce you to the rules. Here's a couple rules. Next scenario, here's a couple more rules. Next scenario, here's a couple more rules. By the end of scenario 5, you got all the rules, and you've played them enough times without any kind of real threat of losing. I mean, you could lose, but maybe scenario 5 you might lose, but it has an actual like tutorial system. It's inspired me to tackle the big box of Gloomhaven and do the full big campaign scenario. But the Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion was so good. I played it a couple scenarios on the channel, and I loved it. The top, Gloomhaven itself, of course, is a great game. Number 1 BGG game for the last however many years. The top action, bottom action system, it's so good. The characters, they have little minis you can paint, as I'm sure you've seen. I just think it's a perfect perfect introduction into the world of Gloomhaven. I loved it. If it's something that you've been thinking about, go do it. It's a cheap entry. You don't have to worry about spending $160, or if you're getting Frosthaven now, $250. You can enjoy the Dungeon Diver, all of that. Number 3 most played game, Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. 2 games left. I'm sure you know what they are, but what order are they in? Number 2 is Too Many Bones. Adam and Josh Carlson, Chip Theory Games. It's an adventuring dice building RPG, as you've seen on this channel. You use skills and abilities, you take down tyrants. Every game feels a little different, because even if you're playing the same Gearlock and the same tyrant, maybe you do a little bit something different. Maybe you go heavy into attack dice, maybe you do heavy into skills. You can kind of customize it every adventure. The writing is clever. The adventure cards, you can take some out and put some new ones in, and you get different adventure cards that bring up different scenarios. All of the components, of course, top notch from Chip Theory Games. With all the expansions, I don't think this will leave my top 10 played list anytime soon. We've just started digging into Undertow. There's Splice and Dice. Of course, there's the new Too Many Bones Unbreakable coming out soon, which, spoiler alert, coming up in my next video. Too Many Bones. Got it to the table often. You can set it up, get it ready beforehand, pick your dice, get it all set it up to go. And then when you're ready to table, get it all out and chuck some dice. I mean, I love rolling dice. That's what got me in the hobby. Alright, number 1 most played, should be no surprise, it's Marvel Champions. Michael Boggs, Nate French, Caleb Grace, Fantasy Flight Games. I mean, this is no surprise. You've seen the channel flooded with Marvel Champion stuff. Every couple months you're getting new stuff. Living card game, so you don't have to buy everything. You can pick and choose what you want. Have to buy the base game, of course. But then after that, if you like the Avengers, if you like X-Men, if you like the Guardians, you pick kind of what you want to play. There's not a lot of, you have to get this pack, you have to get that pack, you have to hope you pull something good. For me personally and my lifestyle, I play mostly precons. I do a little deck building, but that's what makes Marvel Champions so good, is you can kind of just play how you want. You can get heavy into deck building. I've seen people deck build for all 42 heroes and just have the decks ready to go. You have people like me who just rip open the pack, play with whatever they gave you, the pre-constructed decks, and you can also customize to be like the most efficient deck and take down the hardest heroic baddies you can. You can play single scenarios against, Rhino, or against Red Skull, or against Crossbones, or against Ronin. Don't do that. But you can also do campaigns. And they have storybook campaigns. The storybooks are so-so. They're not the best storybooks, but going through those 5 bosses, very fun. So easy to table. The game's between 20, 30, 40 minutes depending upon your fight and your, if you're playing protection or justice or whatever. Battling with, another thing I like about the game is you're fighting the villain, but you also have to manage this threat of his scheme. If you go down to your alter ego and he's scheming his plan and he gets away with it, then you lose. And it's, you can bring allies in. You can build I built a whole team of Avengers through all the ally cards. And you can go take on Thanos. And it lets you be the hero. It's one of the better living card games, I think, for newer people, because it just lets you feel that power a little bit. And being, like something like Arkham or Lord of the Rings, where it's a little bit more challenging. I think this one, they really nailed it. You can be the hero. It's easy to table. You've seen on the channel. My number 1 most played game, Marvel Champions. And with that, that's my top 10 list. Ghost of Christmas Present. Top 10 most played games 2022. Let me know down below in the comments what some of your most played games were this past year, as we reflect and look back on the years past. And in a future video, we'll look forward to 2023. As always, if you like this content, please subscribe. I really appreciate all the support. It's something I really enjoy doing. I love board games. I love playing them. I love recording them. I love sharing my experiences with you. Sometimes you get those epic moments that, you share with a couple people, but now I can share with more people. And I love doing that. So, with all that being said, have a good one.